I lost my job in 2022. The first thing I did after my layoff was take a big family vacation to Hawaii. I took my entire family, the 7 of us, my parents, my in-laws, everyone to Maui, and we spent the most beautiful 10 days there. And then after we got back, I took another magical trip to Disney World. And while it may sound like I'm bragging, I'm not. These trips were planned months in advance to celebrate milestone birthdays and anniversaries. And the only reason these trips were possible, even after I lost my job, was because of a solid emergency fund. And that's the topic for this video's discussion. In this video, I will discuss the need for an emergency fund, how to build an emergency fund, and where to keep your emergency fund to earn the best interest rates. Hi there, I'm Avanti. I'm a mom, an investment analyst, and a CFA charter holder. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow my Facebook page to learn how to build wealth through investing. Everywhere I look these days, there is news of layoffs and hiring freezes and recessions. Big tech cut thousands of jobs in 2022 and more are planned for 2023. The consumer sector is seeing layoffs. Headline after headline on Wall Street Journal, Goldman, Amazon, Blue Apron, DoorDash, CNN, Pepsi, BuzzFeed, H&M. My LinkedIn feed is flooded with posts from people seeking a job. It's tough when you lose your job and you're the sole breadwinner in your family. And then there is this news where a couple who both worked at Meta lost their job on the same day. Nobody is immune, which is why you need to be prepared. It can happen any day. And a layoff is not the only kind of emergency. There can be medical or dental emergencies. Imagine being sick and unable to work even though you have a job. There could be damage to your house or a big ticket appliance that may not be covered by insurance. There could be expensive car repairs or accidents, unplanned travel expenses, and so on. Building an emergency fund helps you in 3 ways. First, it keeps your stress levels low. Having an emergency fund is like having a safety net. The financial security your emergency fund brings will help you deal with your emergency rationally. You can think clearly without having to worry about money. Second, it keeps you from making financial mistakes. Let's say you have no emergency fund and your car breaks down. Now you have to run and arrange for funds to repair your car or buy a new car. Most likely, you would rely on your credit card that charges a very high interest rate, or borrow money from someone, again, probably at a high interest rate. Then you have to work extra hard to pay back the borrowed amount plus the interest. Or worse still, you withdraw funds from your retirement or brokerage accounts. And if the market is down, you lock in losses when you make a withdrawal. Third, building an emergency fund helps build discipline around saving and investing. As you build an emergency fund, you may realize how easy it is to set aside money for emergencies. Or maybe it is not easy, but you may realize that with a little extra effort, you're still able to do it. You may already have some amount saved in an emergency fund, but let's say you're starting at 0. You want to have between 3 and 12 months of expenses saved in an emergency fund. The exact number of months depends on a number of factors, including how risk-averse you are, how long it typically takes to find a job in your line of work, and how healthy you are. For example, I'm relatively healthy. It's not very difficult to find a job. However, I'm quite risk averse. So for someone like me, I would like to have between 10 and 12 months of expenses in an emergency fund. Once you've determined how many months of expenses you'd like saved. The next step is to determine your monthly expenses. This is my budgeting worksheet. You can download it from the link in the description and save it to your personal drive. I'm going to ignore the cash inflow section and go right to the outflow section. I've entered some hypothetical monthly values in here, and you can erase those and enter your own. In an emergency, you'll probably not spend on this discretionary section here, dining out or hobbies, concerts, and so on. So you can ignore this section and any other category or subcategory that you would likely not spend on when life is tough. With these hypothetical expenses, my expenses add up to $3,600 a month. Now let's say I want to have a 3-month emergency fund. I will multiply 3,600 by 3. That amounts to $10,800. So this is the amount I need to save in my emergency fund. If you need to have a 12-month emergency fund, you would have to multiply your monthly expenses by 12. Now that I know how much I need saved, I need to set a target savings amount per month. Let's say I can save $500 a month. By saving $500 a month, I can get to my goal of $10,800 in 10,800 divided by 500, which is 21.6 months. So about 22 months. And if I can save $600 a month, I can get to my goal in 18 months. If I want to accelerate my savings, I would either need to cut some other expenses or find an alternative source of income through a side hustle so I can get to my emergency fund goal faster. I would then go through my budget again and identify areas where I can make some cuts. One example would be cutting out some of these subscriptions so I can make room in my budget for savings. Or if I don't want to stretch myself thin, I can only save, say, $300 a month. I can get to my goal in 36 months or 3 years. You do what works for you. Personal finance is very personal. There is absolutely no shame or guilt. More than half of Americans don't have at least 3 months of emergency fund, according to a Bankrate survey from 2021. And 25% don't have any emergency fund at all. If you want to cut your daily $5 latte, go for it. But if you absolutely cannot live without it, and that's the only thing you do for yourself, you don't have to deprive yourself. Don't feel guilty about spending on something that brings you joy. You may reach your goal a little slower, but it's okay. You do you. I've also linked my emergency fund calculator in the description. Now let me show you where you can stash your emergency fund. But before that, please show me some love by hitting that like button and helping me with the YouTube algorithm. And share this video with one person who may get some value out of it. And if you're new here, please consider subscribing and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of my new videos. And if you're watching me on Facebook, don't forget to follow my page. And comment below what you like and what you want to hear more about in my future videos. You want to save your emergency fund in a place where you can access it easily in case of an emergency. But you don't want too much access to it, that you're tempted to spend it all. Another thing you want is liquidity without loss of value. For this reason, you don't want to put your emergency fund in a brokerage account and invest it in risky assets. You can save your emergency fund in a checking account, but it's not the best place for 2 reasons. Number 1, you have access to your checking account and you will be tempted to spend the money when you see it. And number 2, checking accounts earn close to 0% in interest. So your money sitting and chilling in a checking account earns hardly any interest. That money is not working for you. So what you want to do is find a high yield savings account or a money market account which is different from a money market fund. These high yield savings accounts pay a higher interest rate compared to your traditional banks. The reason being, these are online institutions that don't have a brick and mortar presence. So they don't have regular overhead expenses that traditional banks have. Check out this list of high yield savings accounts on Bankrate. These rates fluctuate. For example, when I first opened a high yield account with Marcus, I got a 2.25% rate, and then rates fell to 0.5%, and now they're back up at 3%. You could pick any of these based on the interest rate, the minimum deposit required, the number of monthly withdrawals allowed, etc. What you want to check and make sure is that the bank that you go with is a member of the FDIC, or the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. FDIC insures your deposits up to $250,000. Go to this FDIC member finder website and type in the name of the bank that you're interested. The link is in the description. Make sure to do your due diligence before giving any online bank your money. Another place to find good interest rates is a credit union, in which case, make sure that the credit union is insured by the NCUA, or the National Credit Union Administration. A third option is a CD, a no penalty CD. Most high yield accounts don't give you access to a debit card or a checkbook, and there's a limit on the number of withdrawals you can make each month. This is a good thing because it creates a small barrier between you and the funds, so you can continue building your emergency fund without accidentally spending it on non-emergency expenses like buying Christmas presents. Out of sight is out of mind. The money in my emergency account, I treat it as if I don't even own it. If you're building your emergency fund, you can set up auto payments from your checking account to your emergency fund account to take the mental labor out of the process. In my earlier example, I could hypothetically set up 22 auto payments of say $500 into my SoFi account or my Marcus account. And actually, because interest accrues each month, I will have built my $10,800 emergency fund in less than 22 months. To summarize, your emergency fund needs to be separate, liquid, make some amount of interest, and be accessible in an emergency, but not too accessible in non-emergency situations. Go watch this video next. And if you found any of this information to be of any value, please like this video and share it with one other person who you want to help. As always, don't forget to be happy, to be kind, and to be your best self. Bye.